They didn't just cross a line tonight. They detonated a war. In the middle of the ring, under the brightest lights, on live television. And the craziest part? We still don't know who did it. On tonight's episode of WWE SmackDown, chaos didn't just erupt. It was engineered, calculated, personal. And the target? Logan Paul. Flat on his back, blindsided, humiliated. And somebody backstage is either laughing or planning the next strike. Let me ask you something right now before we even go deeper. If you were standing in that arena and saw Logan Paul get dropped like that, would you cheer? Or would you be shocked? Be honest. Drop it in the comments. Because tonight wasn't just another SmackDown moment. This wasn't a cheap ambush. This wasn't a random attack. This was a message. And the message was loud enough to shake the entire locker room. Logan Paul came into SmackDown tonight with that signature arrogance. You know, the walk, the smirk, the slow turn to the hard cam like he owns the entire building. Love him or hate him, you cannot deny it, he commands attention. He stepped into that ring like he was untouchable. And maybe that's the problem. He grabbed the mic. He started talking about dominance, about influence, about being the biggest name not just in WWE but in sports entertainment, period. He said he doesn't need respect because he is the attraction. Now here's a quick question for you. Do you think Logan Paul has actually earned his place in WWE? Or do you think he's just riding fame? Comment earned or overhyped. Because somebody clearly thinks he hasn't earned anything. And they proved it the violent way. The segment was building. The crowd was buzzing. Logan was mid-sentence, soaking in the noise, when the lights flickered. Just slightly. Not a full blackout. Just enough. And that's when it happened. A blur from behind. A hooded figure sliding under the ropes with surgical precision. And before Logan could even turn around, crack. A devastating shot to the back of the skull. The sound echoed. The mic dropped. And Logan Paul collapsed. Not a staged stumble. Not a dramatic oversell. He dropped like a man who genuinely did not see it coming. And here's the chilling part. The attacker didn't celebrate, didn't pose, didn't speak. They stood over him, staring, breathing heavy, then looked directly into the hard cam, and left. No music, no reveal, no explanation, just chaos. Now tell me this. What's scarier, a loud enemy who tells you they're coming? Or a silent one who strikes without warning? Security rushed the ring. Commentary was losing their minds. The medical team checked on Logan. And the crowd? They were split. Half were stunned. Half were chanting. That right there tells you everything about Logan Paul's place in WWE right now. He's polarizing. And polarization creates enemies. But which enemy? Let's break this down. Because this wasn't random. This wasn't a fan jumping the barricade. This was someone trained. Precise footwork. Clean strike. In and out timing. This was a wrestler. So the question becomes, who benefits from Logan Paul being laid out? Let's talk suspects. First name that immediately comes to mind, jealousy. Logan Paul skyrocketed into WWE and, within a short period, was already headlining premium events. He's shared the ring with top-tier talent. He's taken spotlight from veterans who've spent a decade grinding. That creates resentment. Now think about someone who's been vocal about part-timers. Someone who hates outsiders. Someone who believes this business is sacred. Does that narrow it down? What if this wasn't about championships? What if it was about respect? And here's something else. The attacker moved like someone athletic, explosive, confident. Not a rookie. Not hesitant. They knew exactly where the cameras were. Which means they've been in that spotlight before. Let's get deeper. Earlier tonight backstage, Logan was shown brushing off another superstar's challenge. Laughing it off. Could that have been a clue? Was tonight retaliation? Because here's what makes this even more intense. There were no obvious tells. No signature move. No trademark taunt. Almost like the attacker wanted us guessing. Or wanted someone else to take the blame. Now that's dangerous. Because if the wrong person gets accused, we're looking at a full-blown locker room explosion. So I'm going to ask you directly. Who do you think did it?
Type the name right now.
Don't overthink it. First name that pops in your head. Because I promise you, somebody in that locker room is sweating right now. And let's talk about Logan for a second. You can criticize him all you want. Call him cocky. Call him privileged. Call him a social media star playing wrestler.
But tonight?
He was vulnerable. And that vulnerability changes everything. Because now this isn't about ego. This is about pride. Logan Paul has built his brand on never backing down. Never staying down. If you attack him publicly like that, he's going to hunt you. And when he finds you, it won't be pretty. But here's the twist. What if the attacker wants that? What if this was bait? Think about it. Strike him on live TV. Embarrass him. Force him into a reckless response. That's psychological warfare.
And it worked.
Because when Logan was finally helped to his feet, he wasn't confused. He was furious. The kind of furious that leads to bad decisions. The kind of furious that leads to fights in parking lots. The kind of furious that gets careers shortened. So, here's another quick one for you. If you were Logan Paul right now, would you demand answers next week? Or would you retaliate without warning? Comment, demand, or revenge. Let's analyze the body language again. The attacker paused before leaving. Looked into the camera. That wasn't random. That was intentional. Almost like they wanted someone watching at home to see it. Almost like the message wasn't just for Logan. It was for all of us. And if that's true, this could be bigger than one rivalry. This could be the beginning of a faction, a takeover, or even a power shift on SmackDown. Because when mystery surrounds violence in WWE, history tells us something massive follows. Think about it. Some of the biggest storylines ever began with an unexplained attack. Mystery builds obsession. Obsession builds ratings. And ratings build legacies. So, was this a personal vendetta? Or the start of something revolutionary? Now here's a detail most people might have missed. When the attacker slid out of the ring, they favored their left leg slightly. Just slightly. Was that part of a disguise? Or was that a clue? Because if someone on the roster has been dealing with a left leg issue recently, that narrows the field. And if that's true, WWE might have just planted the smallest breadcrumb for us to follow. Did you notice that limp? Go back and watch it. Tell me if I'm crazy. Backstage reactions were telling too. Some superstars looked shocked. Some looked amused. And some looked unsurprised. That's interesting. Because when chaos happens, genuine reactions are hard to fake. And I saw at least one face that looked like they knew something. Now I'm not accusing, but I am observing. And observation in WWE often leads to revelation. Let's not ignore the bigger picture here. Logan Paul is not just another name on the roster. He brings mainstream attention. He brings headlines. He brings controversy. Attacking him guarantees exposure. So whoever did this didn't just want revenge. They wanted spotlight. And they got it. The wrestling world is buzzing. Social media is exploding. Calls out the entire locker room. Accuses everyone. Tensions rise. Finger-pointing begins. And then, the attacker strikes again. Different target. Same message. Now we're looking at paranoia. Nobody trusts anyone. That's how factions are born. That's how brands implode. And that's how legends are made. Quick trivia for you. Can you remember another time in WWE history where a mystery attacker storyline completely changed the trajectory of a superstar's career? Drop the name in the comments. Let's see who really knows their wrestling history. Here's my prediction. This isn't ending quietly. Logan Paul is not the type to let this slide. He thrives on chaos. He feeds off controversy. And if someone thinks they embarrassed him tonight, they might have just created the most dangerous version of Logan Paul we've ever seen. Focused. Humiliated.
Angry.
And anger in wrestling? That's rocket fuel. But I'll say this. The attacker better have a plan. Because Logan has resources. Influence. Connections. He will review the footage. He will analyze every frame. And when he finds even the smallest clue, the hunt begins. So I'm asking you one last time. Was tonight a calculated strike from a rival, or the opening move of something much bigger? Type your theory below. And don't just name someone. Explain why. Because the best theory might just predict what happens next. And if this turns into the rivalry of the year, you'll be able to say you saw it coming. Stay loud. Stay watching. Because this mystery, it's far from over. And when the attacker finally reveals themselves, SmackDown may never be the same again.